guys, and welcome back on my YouTube channel. Today, finally, come back with the master guide. We have the master guide of DOFLAMINGO. You know, if you saw my tweet, I said I just searched on internet some guide for DOF because I want to play it in live for you, and I find only, for my opinion, only clickbait content. So I just want to come back with the master guide with the help. Today we have the help of Mattia and Gianluca, two really good player, and these two guys played a lot DOFLAMINGO, so know really better than me how to play the deck in each matchup. So with the help of us, we created this master guide. Will be long probably, but I want to know if you, after you watch the video, if it's a clickbait video or not. I want some feedback. If you want support this content, I will repeat again, just follow me here on the other social, on Twitch, and all you want. And boys, I will leave you with the guys, so bye bye.
So guys, thank you very much Gigi for the opportunity to speak about this deck. Here's me, Mattia, with Gianluca.
Yeah, I'm here. Of course, you know me from the other master guides. I've been a huge help to Luigi in many of his videos. You know me.
I'm Skinflux, if somebody doesn't know me. I want to speak about DOFLAMINGO with Gianluca today because I think that DOFLAMINGO is right now one of the biggest meta contender of the meta in OP08.5. With BY, with Luffy BY probably the second best pick in this currently meta. I think we just can go to speak about a skeleton of deck list that you can play. The deck is really versatile, so actually you are really flexible on what you want to play.
Yeah. This deck list is a little bit like green. We still haven't thought about many things about the deck. Still much to discuss, much to understand about the deck, but it's just a sample deck list.
Yeah, the fun thing is that even if the format is out like for 1 month or something like this now, there has not been a lot of events, maybe just some online events. Yeah. So actually the meta is not a really good shape with this deck, at least because since it have a lot of different variations, we still need to dig into it, in my opinion. I don't think there's a lot of top players really digging into the deck right now, even if the deck is good, just because PY seems to eating all the meta.
Yeah, also many people don't want to play online events.
Yeah.
And many people don't like this format at all, and they're waiting for OP09. So deck is still pretty much a blank.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to discover actually. I think we can just go to speak about the general strategy of the deck. Actually, I think one of the biggest mistake a lot of new DOFLAMINGO players do is thinking that the deck is just go aggro, maybe like go first and spam with leader ability. Actually, I think that the correct way of playing this deck, at least on your mind, on your setup, on your mindset, is playing it like a tempo deck. I think it's the strongest tempo deck in this meta probably, because you have a lot of plays to just use a lot of your card economy and card advantage to just be always ahead of your opponent without using a lot of resources. And I think this is the really the bounce effect of the lows.
Yeah, that's the definition of a tempo play. I mean, bouncing opponent stuff while building your board is a tempo play.
And then you can use another time your Sengokus, you can recycle out your lows, you can actually do really a lot of things to just establish a board, let the opponent doesn't have one, and just go actually in card advantage. We will speak about I think 7 or 8 matchups that we have in the currently meta. We will speak of the mirror, like the first one probably to speak, because probably the deck will be really much represented in this meta. Yeah,
it's one of the cheapest decks to build as well, like to start a deck plus a couple of cards, so it's easy to build as well.
Yeah, that's actually one of the strengths of this deck. So actually is easy to play for a lot of maybe not so experienced player that maybe want to start with a good deck. I think actually those new starter decks have been a lot of
Good
new
value.
players. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
good
just
value.
it's a lot of good value. So a lot of new people is coming into the game and trying a new meta decks. For the mirror, actually, we can say that your strategy is going second. Actually, for almost any matchup, you will go in
Deck
second.
tends to go second pretty well. You have good cards to go second. You have your bow on 6 dawn. You have many things you can do. Like you don't want to go first because if you go first and go too aggro versus your opponent, you can like have problems in being starved. You don't have a lot of resources, and so going second is almost always better, except
Yeah,
in some like niche matchups or some important matchups. But you usually tend to go second.
yeah, and actually speaking about the mirror itself, the most important thing in going second is that you tend to have your pieces not tapped.
Like active,
Yeah, like
yeah,
active.
you want it active.
So you just need to go to your life, and this way you can just actually gain the card advantage that you need, because when you go first, you tend to have like your pieces, your pieces that can be attacked from your opponent, and then you just lose the card advantage because you need to discard to have the board, or just give out to the board and then play without resources. So actually that's the main reason to go second. That's actually the plan when you go first, because if you have a 6k body on your first leader ability, probably that body will not be attacked from your opponent, because on 4 down curve, if they don't have teach, they just need to go probably 5 into a 4 drop. That's the
Most of the time, that's
yeah,
the
most of the
play.
time that's the play that the Doflamingo player needs to do. At least maybe if they did Verona, things can just go a
Can
little
vary.
bit different. But actually, the plan for the Doffy going second, if they don't have teach, most of the time is just going like 5 into maybe Jimbe Weevil. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you have your 6k on board, probably your 6k will just stay on board.
Yeah, that's why most of the time you wanna mulligan for teach, because teach is very important for the mirror.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, keep like establishing teach as soon as possible is one of the
The
best you
strongest
can do.
play. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah, because
it
you
will
can
will gain value every turn. So
over time. Yeah,
yeah, it's like that. After 2 or 3 turns, it's like it just gave you like more dons than what you have spent to use it actually.
yeah, yeah.
So it's
Yeah, in
a
the late
really
game
good
you can
game.
loop your lows. Yeah, in the late game you can loop your lows, bounce your lows back to end, and play it again with the with the teach, putting it back on
Yeah,
top. You can like do some disgusting turns on tendon, like play triple low, bounce 3 characters.
with just one
It's
card.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just one card. Yeah,
And if you have an extender in Jimbe, maybe you can even place 4 drop on your board while doing this. It's actually
yeah.
crazy. Jozu in this matchup is a really strong card as well,
Good.
because Jozu lets you put a 7k on board while just bouncing your opponent cards. And only Jozu in this deck can bounce Jozu if they are not playing like 7 cost DOFLAMINGO. That's actually a card that's really strong in mirror. It's a little bit niche because it doesn't have a lot of other plays
Uses.
in the meta. But for the mirror, if you are building this deck and you have problems in the mirror, it's actually a touch that you can think of. Other than this, Jozu tends to just be bounced by another Jozu of the opponent, and when there's that situation, it becomes a loop where both of the players will just play like for 4 dons every turn, because they tend to bounce Jozu bounce Jozu till one of the two can just like parry the last turn and then go lethal next turn. Probably that's what I found in the mirrors most of the time
So far.
when you
Yeah,
just loop the Jozus. And the boa, of course, is strong as well, because on the
yeah. I
if you
mean,
go second on the 6th turn, you can just boa with the leader effect for free. Like if you skip at the turn and you are playing on 7. And actually, boa is like a bonkers card, one of the strongest edition of
Yeah,
this
as a
deck.
6k blogger, it's very
Yeah,
useful.
the
It's
the,
most
the
of the
fact that he
time,
gives you the Dawn, the Rested Dawn is just crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, but also being a blogger with 6k is useful because your opponent will most of the time just attack for 7 using his leader, so you can just like block and 2k and keep your hand count really high, and also like knowing your top decks turn by turn. If you
Yeah,
like spam boas is so good.
knowledge.
You can keep
Yeah,
your
knowledge
yeah.
is key while playing this deck.
Yeah,
I
yeah. The mirror. The most important things about the mirror are like knowledge of your top decks at almost all times when you don't have teach, and your hand count should be pretty high, like throughout the whole game. Because if you go too behind on the resources and then your opponent like uses the seven cost spell or like something else, you can lose pretty easily the match.
Yeah, and of course, while you do this, you even need to think about pudding as well. So actually, the skill cap of the mirror is really. I think that it's really high because it's
Yeah,
not
the
so
best
easy.
player usually wins. The best
Yeah,
player
yeah.
usually wins. Yeah.
It's really high because it's a lot to back and forth. Every turn is like the tide turns completely
Yeah.
on the board. It's like everyone will go just jump, 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 bounce, bounce, bounce your pieces, and then build a board again while trying to attack or starve the opponent. So it's a really hard matchup.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But I think
aligned.
it's really rewarding. I think every time all the time you put into the mirror will help you to become a better Doflamingo player, in my opinion.
Yeah, like a good player overall. Like
Yeah, 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 of
the
course.
deck, the deck is pretty skillful. So of course, like spending time, investing time into the deck is probably the best thing you can do. Like it's not like playing Nami. This deck helps you understand how the game works, how turns need to go, how you can like answer your opponent's board while still like gaining advantages from your attacks. The deck like has many different like things you can do.
Yeah,
It's
it's
difficult,
very
yeah, it's
flexible. Yeah.
rewarding. It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding in this sense, in these aspects.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's kinda all in the mirror. Actually,
Yeah,
just maybe speaking about the end game, that's where the things becomes even more difficult because you need to be like clinical, and actually, it's like surgery. I mean, to when you
also
need to attack and how many cards you need to get from your opponent's hand in order to go lead at the next turn while not dying the turn on your lead your opponent last attacks.
yeah,
And so actually that's it. Maybe Parfum when you have the teach on board can help you to just that's actually good
in
in
2K.
every matchup, of course, because you just gain 2k. um, and actually I think that's it. I think
Yeah, yeah, that's
you
most
want to.
of the things.
Okay.
No, no, I don't think. Yeah, it's
Okay. So speaking about Nami, we have Nami as one of our actually I think most favorable matchup.
of course there is not much to be said about this matchup in the sense that it's Nami. Of course, you still need to play like against like the same as almost any deck versus Nami. You need to like use your attacks wisely. You need to attack like with 6k to play around the white snake. You want to be as aggressive as possible. Your deck allows you to like go aggressive, and Nami needs to keep her dons up. So the attacks on your characters will not be very high. If you have Boa, you can like counter most of the attacks without like gaining too much, making your opponent gain too much advantage, and keeping your end count low. So Nami is usually a favorite a good matchup for you. It's a very good
Yeah,
matchup.
yeah. I don't think we
Very
need
good.
to add a lot on the
Yeah, yeah,
Nami matchup just because Nami matchup is a mathematic matchup like with
yeah.
every deck. So it's like I think with the other guides you already spoke about Nami, and the game plan is always the same. You just need to know how to attack against Nami. Nami is just a leader that needs to be taken like it's different in the meta than every other deck because it's just a different win condition, and you just need to know how to attack, and as you just said, playing
Yeah, the
around
events.
around the events and around the white snake. That's the maybe the most difficult thing to play is just White Snake probably. So
most important cards are low to bounce the like
you can bounce
the
the blockers, yeah.
Yeah, you usually want to bounce the blocker only. Of course, you want to bounce the Kaya because you're gonna lose if you do that. Teach to to play. Teach allows you to be as aggressive as possible while still like playing cards every turn. You gain dons by still playing cards, so you don't go behind. Like in attacks, you can still be as aggressive as possible
Yeah.
while still building a board. And Weevil, because it's just a 6k that draws you, so it's hard to remove for Nami.
Yeah,
She's
6Ks are
best
key
in
actually. As soon as
yeah,
you see 6Ks, you just spam them and actually you will
yeah,
probably win the game. I don't think we need to add a lot of
yeah. No,
things against
it's cookie
Nami.
cutter. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
matchup for us.
Another favorable matchup, we have Purple Luffy. Purple Luffy is actually a good deck right now, maybe even stronger in
Really,
OP9. He's gaining
yeah,
popularity once again because he got a lot of cards. He got Luffy Taro, he got Sangoro, he got the new Zoro. I mean, he got a good Strat package. Um,
yeah.
I don't think that it are really tier 1 meta contender right now. In
No, still,
OP8.5, maybe it will
it
be in
could.
8, in 9. It could be, I
Yeah,
don't
in
know.
Opio 9 is gonna
But
be
it's
one of the
really
best deck,
strong.
one of the top 3 decks
Yeah,
probably
probably.
with yeah.
And
But now it
yeah, I
just
think
as a
we
like
we are winning this matchup probably if we
yeah,
go second.
we win most of the time if even if we go second. Like he wants to start first, but if we go second, because second is too favorable for us. And like since he needs to like take his life to to
To do
ramp,
leader ability, yeah.
you can just play aggressive, and like he needs to discard most of the cards from his hand, and you can win by simply ignoring his characters and just go face. Yeah, face is the place,
Yeah. I think
as it
that
says. Yeah,
what we have written like here in the guide, faces the place is just probably the only thing you need to remember, because then your actually plan on playing the cards against this deck is just play normally Doffy. So maybe on your 4 dawn you will just Jimbe Weevil into Boa 7 5 6 5 6
yeah,
7 Boa, something like this. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
Probably the only thing you wanna like you wanna like try to trade from your opponent boards are the Sangoros, are the 5 cost Sangoros, because otherwise,
yeah,
if you
it's
just go
free, it's
face
free
and they
draw.
got it and they got him on the board, you can lose too much advantage, because
Yeah,
you lose if they like if they establish too much of a board
and
while playing.
card economy,
Yeah,
yeah.
while playing like the 7 cost kid. If they play it like it's not as popular right now, because
They are playing
even
9
if
cost mom as well, yeah.
yeah, 9 cost mom is good as well, but like 7 cost kid is not really like played now. 7 cost kid, because they have too many bricks in the deck. There is still no one cost like
Yeah,
event, so they cannot afford to play as many bricks. But if
but
they
it's good into
play it,
Doffy actually.
yeah, if they play it like and they play Sangoro, since his leader is 6k from Kid, you might as well just try to trade the Sangoro,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
otherwise
I'm
he
with you on
gains
this.
too much advantage and you lose the game from there. Because then he spams blockers in the late game, and even if he has like 1 life, you can still lose.
Yeah, I completely agree
So,
with you on this.
so you wanna like keep an eye on the board if they have Sangoro, but otherwise you just wanna ignore the board and go face most of the time.
And you will probably actually end up winning it because I think they don't have so much gas right now. They need to counter most of your attacks, but then they will just probably break
Yeah,
one of your pieces a turn because they tend to play a lot of
yeah,
on
they play
curve.
on curve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so your pressure is, I think, too much for them to just
To
recover.
keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, to keep up with. Yeah,
I think we can just probably
yeah,
go on. In our favorable matchup, we have a tricky one probably.
yeah. It's
Um,
the trickiest favorable matchup.
yeah,
Because like
probably. We have our maybe favorite deck of the last
yeah,
times,
the big
the
deck,
cook,
the
the
cook,
deck we cooked with the other guys from Italy that we
Liverpool.
always
Yeah,
yeah
yeah. I
thank
topped with the deck.
for
You
Liverpool.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, Gianluca did a great time. We thank everyone. who played this deck with us actually in that time, and it was a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It's still a strong
Moving
deck
on.
actually.
Yeah, it's still one. Yeah, it's still one of the like best decks,
Maybe top
probably. 'Cause
5. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But like this deck tends to like win versus Luffy because he needs to play around too many things. Like Pudding is very scary for him
Yeah.
because he wants to take his lives because it's not like Lucci that can like destroy your board and still like counter out the early attacks because his strategy, the Luffy strategy, is mostly setup.
Yeah.
So by going like by going second, you allow him to yes have the turn on 9, but he still has not many good turns before.
Yeah, and
Yes, your lows are gonna be a little bit more like um, bad because like you cannot bounce his 4 costs, but if they play it on curve or just like they need to play too many things with and like putting pressure on him allows you to not like let him gain Dawn in the sense that he's not able to like put a Dawn under his
yeah.
leader because he like needs to Ice Age plus something. You can bounce the Laboon and Kuzan, but you can also bounce the Brook like every time because it's going to be 4 costs most of
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, and
And
thing
so like
is
you
that
deny. Yeah. No, you can go. You can go.
yeah, I think is that you like to go second even because playing Jack and Curve for this deck is not strong like it is with Lucci. Because with Lucci, when they go just on 7 on Jack, they just can destroy one of your characters because they just become 3 with leader ability. In this deck, if they just drop Jack on Curve, their Jack will probably be useless as soon as you. I mean, it just destroys your Teach. Otherwise, they cannot destroy your 4 costs because probably that turn they will not have the Brook on board because you just bounced him. I mean, probably playing the matchup. So I think that's another reason why you want to go second.
Yeah, Jozu on curve is also pretty good
Yeah, of
because
course.
if they go Kuzan, is one of the best things for you if you have Pudding because like you go Jozu, bounce back his Kuzan, and then if he plays it again, you can Pudding. Is a high end count because he played 2 Kuzans. I mean, that's
Yeah, of course. It's a good response because they do it on 5. It becomes a 5, and you can just bounce him with Jozu, and
yeah.
it's a really good answer actually. And then of course the late game can be harsh because if they just chain a lot of Morias, you can lose because actually every deck that doesn't play Moria,
Black.
yeah, can lose to double or triple Moria. That's the current state of the game. So I mean, it happens, and you just need to stick with it.
Yeah.
They don't have the strongest Moria on the meta, so maybe you can win with 1 or maybe 2 if you have good answers like maybe Red Rocks, or if you play it there's like the draw for Kaido, it could be good as well as an answer to Moria. Not every list is running it, but actually is another card that
Yeah,
you can
the draw
consider.
Kaido could be played. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
that's it.
probably it.
That's
Like,
probably it. And we go to actually one of the most.
trickiest
Yeah,
matchups.
maybe it was the last one was the trickiest of the favorable matchup. I think this matchup can be said as an even one, even but actually there are a lot of games where you just completely utterly destroy these, and other games where you
Where
just
you are just getting
actually
destroyed.
lose on
This-
this deck. I think
yeah.
the real plan of the general plan is that you cannot let him go 9k with 1 life into like looping Morias 9k with 1 life, because as soon as they do this, maybe even just one Moria, if you don't have the answer, is your loss,
It's probably
because you can yeah,
consumable.
you can just not attack. I mean, you will probably have 0 attacks because they just jump your they destroy your your characters with the Rocket Luffy, and then trade another character, and maybe they have 11k to face every turn as well, and you just have only one attack, but then they have a sub. So it's a lock that you always lose to.
Yeah.
So your plan is just don't let them do this. How can we do this? Actually, probably going second. One of the key cards in this matchup is pudding, because if you put pressure early, you have a lot of spots of doing pudding against his end. And the best spot to do pudding is probably the turn before Moria or the turn before this one. Actually, those are the two best spots. It depends if they maybe play a lot of rockets, so they draw, or maybe a lot of Kuzans. It always gains value. But I think you need probably always to do at least one pudding before their first Moria, because they tend to prepare their hands for the Moria. So probably that turn is the turn where it's the most strongest one. I mean, because you just let them destroy their plants. And then the closure is really difficult, because it's either you can just kill him fast, maybe you let them don't awaken in a good spot, because you are too fast for them, or just you can answer to their first Moria, they don't have the second Moria, and then you can lose. You can close the game, because maybe they don't have the little guys to maybe just spam from the end. I think those are.
Make them, yeah. I think you wanna make them as uncomfortable as possible
Yeah.
when they like awaken. You wanna either go fast, or you wanna disrupt their hand a lot with pudding. They're like, those are the two most useful strategies. Because if you just go not aggro enough, not aggressive enough, they just win. Because they can set up their awaken too well.
Yeah. There are some spots where you maybe don't want to take the second life, in order, maybe if you don't have a lot of board, because then if you don't have pudding and they have free rocket, it's just losing for you. But it doesn't happen always, actually.
Yeah,
The plan is very variable actually, because it's a really tricky matchup. You need to really understand this. I think you need like to play maybe 50 games against this matchup before feel pretty comfortable to this.
Yeah, also like their Rocket Luffys are like kind of a double-edged swords in the mid game, because they don't lose card advantage, and that's good for them, but it's also good for you if you have pudding, because they like, yeah, they have a good hand, but you just pudding.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
wanna pudding. You wanna pudding. You usually wanna pudding them when either they are going to play Moria the next turn, or they are going to awaken. And that's why I come back to what I said. Like, you wanna make them as uncomfortable as possible, like, because if you pudding and they don't have like the ability to awaken well, you can punish them, and you can win the game like almost on the spot. But if you're not able like to see pudding, or like disrupt their strategy enough, they just awaken very well, and you lose almost on the spot. Because if they go 7 with 1 life, you're not able to like uh, give them bottom deck their life, and keep that life away. They go to 9 with 1 life, and you lose instantly. Like, you lose almost on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
9
like
with 1 life is a losing situation
yeah,
almost
it's
always.
like all
Uh,
like 99% of the time is losing.
yeah, maybe you can only win if they have like 2 cards, and maybe you can just go like 6 cost spell, then you don't lose, and maybe go 10 with Jozu, 11 with the Jozu, and then with 2 cards maybe they don't have another Moria and you don't lose, and then you can win. But it's a really not so much appearing situation, actually.
Yeah, it's not comfortable.
Yeah. And I think that's it for the matchup as well.
Yeah. I mean, there is much to be talked about this matchup, but it's like
Probably
too in
we
depth.
will end
It's not.
up
Yeah,
to do like a 3 hours master guide, and I
video.
don't
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I don't
yeah.
think
Only
this.
on this matchup is not good.
Okay, so we have another even matchup with
Moving on,
Bonnie.
moving on.
Bonnie is a really fun
Usually.
matchup, actually, in my opinion, because you can completely destroy her if you have good chain of like Jozu on their Cavendish, maybe 7 cost spell in order to destroy his Basilokins with
Bottom deck,
maybe,
yeah, the
yeah,
ability.
maybe another anything actually, just
Yeah, yeah, it used to be
bottoming, yeah,
like in OP07 it used to be like better for you because they didn't have the carrot, but
yeah, of course,
when they got carrot, the matchup got a little bit more tricky because if you are not able to like contest the carrot or the Cavendish, you can lose the game
of
pretty
course,
easily because they gain too much like tempo. Cavendish gives him too many dons to play with, and then carrot like freezes your characters and like you can never attack anymore.
yeah.
It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky, but Josu is very good.
I think Jozu is key
Almost like
probably in this matchup.
yeah, yes, probably the key. Like next to maybe pudding. Like if you're playing versus a
It
good
depends,
Bonnie,
yeah,
yeah, you are usually not going to play the pudding. But like even a good Bonnie can like start with with many one cost searchers, and if they like start with searchers, you are just going to attack the searchers and they are not gonna be able to discard the cards from the
of
end. So
course.
maybe you can play pudding even versus a good player. I mean, it's mostly dependent on what the game feels like for you. So you don't want to like use pudding as a resource, like is a surefire way to play the matchup. But Jozu is probably with
One of
low
the key card, of
a good,
course.
yeah, one of the key cards, of
I
course.
I mean
Yeah,
I think that's the reason for this is they just want to out tempo you, and you are a tempo deck as well. So actually it's just a tempo war. So your tempo cards are the strongest cards against them probably.
yeah, yeah. If they are able to set up their 8 cost kid, you are probably going to lose. But if you play like even if you play Red Rock or something like that, you can contest them. Or also if you're able to pudding them down like with the 3 to 2 lives and they like 5 cards in hand to life, you probably will win even if they go 8 cost kid. It's a
At
tricky
least they
matchup for
don't have
sure.
to.
Yeah, it's a tricky matchup for sure. It's a tricky matchup for sure, but it's even. I mean, it almost always depends on the draw and what you see, but most of the time it's an enjoyable matchup. I don't think it's too like difficult for
Yeah, it's not
Doffy.
the easiest one, but it's not actually even the hardest
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
I
One of the
think,
most enjoyable matchups,
yeah,
honestly.
probably.
It's
I think
playing versus
maybe,
green is fair.
yeah, it's not one of the highest win rate, but I think it's one of the cleanest way to play actually, because they tend to play on curve. So actually, I think every turn is one of the decks that you already kinda know what to do with your dons. It's not the most complicated matchup in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so going away, we
And
are
yeah,
now into the domain of the difficult matchups
yeah.
of the most unfavorable matchups, and we will start with yellow because actually NL.
It's hard.
I
It's
don't
hard.
think it will
It's like
be a lot represented in this meta, but it's actually a good pick because it's not so bad into BY and not so
exactly.
bad
Yeah.
into Doffy, so there will be some, and it's Enel, so it's not hard to play, so there will be some in probably Utrecht, I guess, and
Yeah,
and it's
honestly,
not easy, and
overall,
it's actually
yeah,
not easy.
yeah, yeah, it's not easy. I mean,
Um,
that's probably like it will be one of the hardest matchups for you if you're not able to play the deck properly, because like NL tends to punish players that are not like
yeah,
they're not very good at the game, but not in the sense like you are bad at the game, but like playing the matchup
maybe
is
you don't
the
know how to play against Enel. It's like
yeah,
Nami. It's like the
or,
Nami
or like
theorem.
yeah, or like you can even know how to play versus Enel, but you don't know how to play
Maybe.
Doffy versus
Yeah,
Enel.
yeah, yeah. Of
Like
course.
it's hard. It's very punishing for you, and I feel like it feels the most unwinnable one if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it can be like this. Yeah, I think you can feel like this. I think the plan here is like when you played Zoro in some previous meta. I don't remember. Maybe it was
It was like
07. I don't
OP06
remember, or
or
6, something
07.
like this,
Yeah,
where
6.
you just need to don't push too much and then deploy a board and then just go for little when you have a lot of attacks and can
Yeah.
take a lot of lives, like in 2 turns, something like this. That's the general strategy in your mind.
Yeah, if
Um,
like you are probably going to lose if they see order perfect answers every turn. Like if they have the god curve, you probably will lose.
yeah,
But I mean there are ways to like play around it. I mean if he starves you and you are able to like loop your searchers or like your card advantage engine with the low, like you can try to win the game with just resources.
yeah. You can
And if
out
you play like
resource them.
yeah, and like if Kaido is if Tenko's Kaido, the draw Kaido will start to be played, like they will not be able to starve you because they can lose. Like they can lose easily. It's like it's the same principle as when we played Saga with the Tenko's Kaido.
Yeah, of course.
They we win if they don't starve, but even if they starve, we win if we see Kaido. Of course, it's different because like Saka could like cycle the cards in his hand and get to Kaido faster, but it's
Yeah,
the
we
same
have the
principle.
Peronas, we have the Boas, we have
Yeah,
something. It's not like Saka,
yeah,
of course, but we have, I think, some way to just dig into our deck if we just need to search for
yeah,
a perfect card into a matchup where you just need to dig for that exact card. So
yeah.
actually, I think,
Also, we are blue. We
yeah,
play pudding.
we
They
play
need to
Pudding,
disconnect
and
pudding
that's
as
yeah.
well.
And Pudding is a great card against this matchup just because it exists. Actually, maybe you will not end up to use it, but they will just need to play against it all the way because uh, Enel tends
So
to take
freaking focus.
everything and tends to have a lot of cards, and just playing against blue, I think, is a good check into their mindset because they just need to play different, probably,
Yeah,
and that's really important.
yeah. The times when you are going to play pudding are gonna be the games you win probably because they
Of course.
didn't play around it.
And
They
when
didn't
they
play
play
around
around
it.
it, maybe you win because they just played around it and then they have a low and sides.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Then you wanna like another good like thing we discovered is that like you wanna keep him at 3 until
yeah,
until they have 8 dons. Because if you leave him at 2, they can just play the
the
rocket
rocket for
Luffy
free. Yeah,
and they can just trade your board. And so you are not going to be able to keep up with the board. But if you like let them go at 2 on the 8 down turn, they either play a big body or they play the Luffy. So the more the more later in the game like they establish a board, the better it is for you
yeah.
because you have more time to establish your board.
And of course, you tend to don't swing with your board because
Yeah,
otherwise,
even
yeah,
if it's
yeah, everything is
yeah,
just this plan just doesn't work if you
yeah,
swing
yeah,
with your
if
board.
yeah, even if it is counterintuitive, like the existence of pudding allows you to reach the end game pretty well if they don't establish good boards. If they don't like go Katakuri on 8,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
Ace.
then it's just, of course, they are yellow, so if they just kata into maybe Yamato
Yeah,
into Ace into having a Capone and the zero spell into life, yeah, you lose the game. But that,
yeah,
I mean,
but I think
that
everyone loses
shit
that.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but the thing is, you are also blue, so if you are having problems versus Enel, you can just stack red rocks,
yeah, of
and
course.
like they go big body, and you go red rock, and you go big
Yeah, yeah.
body, and you go
You
red rock.
can have Tenko's Kaido, that's good. You can have the Red Rocks. You always, of course, have the pudding. Low in this matchup lets you have a lot of card advantage because you just can spam like Sengoku's something like this. So actually, you have your keys with
It is like
in this matchup.
losing, but if you know how to play the
I think
matchup,
it's a
it's
lot of a
probably
knowledge check. This matchup probably.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
I
that's probably
think,
it.
yeah, we can, yeah, I think that's probably it, and I think we can just go to our last matchup for
The last.
today. and we have, I think, the hardest one probably.
Yeah, the hardest one, but also like it's not as hard as it looks,
It's
because
winnable, but it's
it
scary
is
in my
winnable.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's
if
scary,
they see well, if they see super well, you instantly lose the game.
of course.
Like from turn one almost. It feels like you lose from turn one, but if they don't have the exact answers, it's mostly gonna be like
I
a
think,
continuous check.
yeah, I
You're
think,
going to
yeah, I think thing is, if they just miss one answer, you probably will start to snowball, and then you win.
yeah,
But if they
yeah, it's a
always
very
answer to
snowballing matchup.
everything, yeah, it's a very snowbally matchup. And of course, that's one of the few matchup you want to go first, because you
Yeah,
want more aggression possible. You want to spam their end because you have the pudding. And they tend to maybe don't counter on maybe eights in early, because maybe if you just can go eights or sevens, it depends on your end. But
yeah,
if
it's
you
very hard
just go
for them.
teach, maybe on 3 dawn you maybe go teach into Jimbe Boa, you just did 8. And maybe if they
Yeah,
just want, maybe for example, to Kuzan on 4 dawn, it's art or whatever they want to do as a forecast, because they then just cannot do 5 on Jinbe, because you can just parry with the boa, so you
yeah,
didn't
just
use cards.
oh, yeah.
And actually that's just a really good setup to have on 3 dons,
Yeah,
so that on 5 dons you have like 6 7 7, or just 7 7 um, with effect, or maybe use another time
yeah,
the teach if you need it.
yeah. Also like bouncing the Kuzans if they play it into their hand is going to be good for
Really
you.
strong, of course.
Again, the same principle as like bouncing it versus like the starter Luffy, the two the deck we played in Liverpool. But the thing is, this matchup feels very bad if they are able to go first. Because if they play like Jack on
Yeah,
7
Jack
in
on
the
curve
morning,
in this deck,
you
it
you like
destroys
you
you.
lose
Yeah,
you are not going to be able to like keep your board up, because they just are able to get rid of one of your characters for free every turn.
you need an
So
instant red rock in answer to
yeah,
the
either red rock
to
or
yeah.
yeah, you need red rock, because
Yeah.
otherwise if you just like attack, uh just do a huge attack on Jack, it's gonna be a tempo loss, a huge tempo loss for you,
Of
because you
course.
wanna be able to go face every time, but it's not gonna be possible every single time. And if you have red rock, you can do it, but if you don't have red rock, you need to be able to like trade this Jack, but
And then you lose one turn.
you and you feel like you lose even if you are able to like get rid of the Jack, because the more turns pass, the more Lucci is able to establish control on your
Yeah,
board.
because in this turn, even if you do like a big attack on the Jack into maybe Jimbe Boa, for example, or Jimbe Weevil or something like this, maybe you just only have the Jimbe with the Weevil on board, or maybe with another not tapped piece, and they can just like spell into Moria and destroy all your
Yeah,
board, and so you just like did skip turn, and
yeah,
that's a really losing situation.
yeah. It's another one of those matchups when they do their strong play, you just wanna concede. Like
Yeah.
you usually don't concede in One Piece, but versus some decks, you
Yeah, there
concede
are.
instantly because
I
like
think
they are
Doflamingo is a deck, is one maybe of the few decks that can have situations.
concede spots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, actually, yeah,
just
yeah, because you already know that you don't have answers in the deck.
yeah,
There are some situations where actually maybe you don't concede because your opponent can just go, I don't know, brain farting all the way and
and then
do
fast
weird
and you
things.
can win. But
But actually, there are mathematically situations where you, if they play correctly, you just are locked away from the game.
yeah,
I don't think that's a con, because that's just
I mean that's how the game works.
yeah.
That's how the like that's how some matchups work. I mean, if you are playing Lucci versus Black Yellow, you already know you are probably going to lose the game.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that's it.
mean, I
That's
mean,
it.
there are some polarizing matchups, but I still feel it's not like completely unfavorable because it's still Lucci. They still play a lot of bricks. So if you are able to like catch them having many bricks in his hand, and you like can flood the hand going 7, 7, 8, those like very good attacks for you, and they just keep taking. You have the pudding strat. You have like a pudding strategy,
Yeah.
the plan B. Like it's not even plan B, it's probably like plan
Plan.
C, plan D, but it's still something that can happen, and Lucci can still brick. So I don't feel like putting it as a completely unfavorable, but of course it's like
Sorry.
60-40 for Lucci. I mean,
Yeah,
it's very bad
it's
for
still
him.
playable, but
It's probably
I
the
think
worst
it's
case.
one of the worst. Yeah, I think it's one of, maybe it's 730. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the worst,
Yeah,
but it's not like completely unplayable.
I think that's the good thing is that I don't think it will be, and that's my take.
Yeah.
Of course, that's just my 2 cents. I don't think it will be the most represented deck in the format right now because it have a lot of hard time against BY. So and BY is the strongest deck. So I think it's just not the safest pick to do. The deck is strong, but I think it have its problems in the meta.
Yeah, I mean, from like the little things we've seen from tournaments, the little results, we have the little data we have.
Yeah,
We've seen like it's not on the rise of it's of course not on the rise because BY is on the rise, and like Lucci is not a very good pick versus BY. So
yeah, yeah.
it's our
And
opinion, but I mean it's
yeah,
like
time will come and time will say the truth, but
yeah, time will tell.
I think that's our take. And then I think that we are done with
We're
this
done.
guide. Yeah,
Yeah, like there are not many like there are many more matchups, but like one of the strengths of the deck
yeah,
is probably the fact that like it has very good matchup versus rogue decks. I mean, if your deck is not able, it's almost like I don't know, I don't even know how to say it. Like your deck needs to be built to win, or even like have a nice time versus Doffy. Otherwise, your deck is not even like playable.
yeah.
Because Doffy is like
It's
a
a check.
gatekeeper for
Yeah,
many decks.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like yeah.
I think
Like
gatekeeper is the correct word to use here. Yeah,
yeah, because if your deck is not able to beat like Doffy, what are you even playing?
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. You will
like
100%
yeah,
encounter 2 or 3 or maybe 4 Doffies if you come to direct
yeah,
with 12 turns. So yeah, of
yeah.
course.
So like you need to like care for this matchup. If you are playing like a rogue strategy, because this deck wins versus most rogue decks. Yeah, that's one of the strengths of the deck.
I'm completely okay with you on this.
Yeah.
And okay, I think actually we are really done now. I think we can just say thank you to everyone who come to this point. Thank you again
Thank you to
to
everyone.
Gigi that just
Give us this opportunity.
yeah, I think he will maybe do another outro. I don't know if he wants because he's GG.
He's strange, but yeah. We thank him for this opportunity, and we
Yeah.
thank all of you for like hearing us ramble about this deck.
And actually, maybe see you in Utrecht. And for anything, I think maybe if GG allows us, we will have our socials as well for the because we are both of us doing coaching on the deck as well. So if
feel free
to write us
like,
or write to
questions.
GG to ask to everyone, ask question in the comments, ask everything. And I mean, the deck is strong and have fun playing it. So thank you very much to everyone and bye bye. I don't know if you want to add something, Gianluca.
No, I think we've said all that could be said like in the short amount of time we had, because like there is much to be said about the deck, but there is little time. Like, otherwise the video will be too long.
Yeah. And so see you on the barricades, guys. Bye bye.